Hi, and welcome to my slideshow assignment on Universal Design for Learning. My name is Thomas Bolger. My student number is 1903031. Well, who are my audience? Who do I teach? What is involved? My audience are young people in a youth reach setting. They come predominantly from socio-economic deprived areas, either through the justice system or through social workers. Um, most have anger management issues or poor mental health. Some are early school leavers, all have poor literacy and numeracy skills, and some of them where English is not their mother tongue. Um, what was my approach so far? My approach so far was because I believe with such a diverse group that you have to be diverse. Um, Gardner's multiple intelligences would have us believe that we all take on and absorb information in many different ways. Some take it orally, some take it audially, some take it visually, some take it with kinesthetics, some take it with bits and pieces and blended out manners of Gardner's multiple intelligence. So what I used to and what still do is I try to be inclusive by using PowerPoint, by using enmeshed videos within PowerPoint, um, class discussions, maybe using Kahoots, some handouts, and I also capture summatively the work in workbooks that I've created, which I also can put online. Piaget, Vygotsky, Rogers, Bordeaux would all have us believe that people develop in a much better rate when in a safe environment. If you feel secure, you feel safe, you're apt to develop much easier. So with the introduction of UDL the last few years, what we have as teachers, as educators, is had a different approach to our students in that we try to consider what the why of learning is, the what of learning, and the how of learning. What is it that motivates our students? What do they like? What are their abilities? What can we wrap around them to help them absorb the information we're trying to deliver? And UDL seems to be the way to go because it asks you to tailor to the student and to use as much of the different resources that we have around us to try and improve that person's experience and ability to take on and engage. What is UDL? Well, UDL again is that sense of trying to create an environment that will tailor your teaching, incorporating technology, assistive learning, and depending on the needs of the student. The problem here was that I had students, I had a particular student who, when I was showing her the workbook, she was going, oh yeah, no, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I was kind of getting a bit annoyed saying, well, why can't you do that? And then I realized I was not listening. I was not listening. I was hearing, I won't do this. And I said, why can't she do this? And basically she found that there was too much words on the page. She couldn't it was just all over the place. She couldn't make sense of maybe she couldn't make sense of sentence by sentence. So the immersive reader was a great aid for me to work with her. Most of the stuff that I use is not universal to everybody in the class. I try and tailor to each. It's not quite one-to-one, but once you do get it set up, it becomes much easier, and then that person can become more self-led. Someone asked me, is it a lot of bother? And I said, it's like making tiger soup. It's very easy to make tiger soup, but you have to catch the tiger first. So once you have the system up and running, it's just a constant check and recheck. As you can see here, I have left you with a QR code so that you can go and look at more of your UDL guidelines. My subject is personal to personal development. It's about the understanding both subjectively and objectively of who you are in the world, how you deal with the world internally within your own emotions, and how you deal with the world subjectively out with other people. Using the different guidelines of engagement, representation, and action and expression seemed all very well to me. There were all these nice little 7.2s and 9.1s. I would argue that within using UDL, you actually take bits of all, or you touch off this, or you take this on board and bring this into your teaching practice. It's far more holistic than just those linear guidelines. There's far more that you can bring in here. And I think as teachers, when we evolve, regardless, we are taking, unbeknownst to ourselves, a lot of the UDL because you are trying to reach those that may not be as reachable as others. But UDL gives you those guidelines, so it's like a great crutch or a focus for me as a teacher to be able to implement my practice. Here's my example of, well, one of my examples of what I did with one of the kids in the class. His mother tongue was Pashto. He's Afghanistan. He was able to read and write in his own language, so he academically he had literacy of a sort, except it was in a Pashto script. So he's learning English now, and I have to say he's doing really, really well. However, translating from the work I was giving him in the workbooks to trying to get the answers in was difficult for him. He was very, very slow at it. So I figured that if I used the translating word, I was able to translate my English books into Pashto. And also for the place that he couldn't fully understand, I was also able to use the word read or to read aloud so that it enabled him to listen to it in Pashto, understand it, translate into English and backwards and forwards. And I have watched his work improve and increase so much since he's been able to do this. Now I'm hoping as well that this helps in other aspects of his life. Um, and also using other things like Padlet. I have one of my students has dyslexia. And so part of the problem is that if I asked him to do a spidergram, which is quite sprawling and it's all very arty, again, he's not that he wouldn't, it was that he couldn't. It was too confusing. It was distracting. He couldn't put stuff together. So the question was about drawing a life map of your different aspects of your life, being your education, your hobbies, your family, your relationships, love, whatever it was. And by using Padlet, he was able to use the Canvas system and just have very straight lines and very sectioned off. And it was something that for him worked really well. Also, with his condition of dyslexia or dyspraxia, he couldn't really write for any length of time. And so going online with him and using OneDrive allowed him to be able to type his stuff in and allowed me to correct it. Yeah. And so within UReach, because we have such a wide, diverse group, we kind of need to be able to have access to the likes of UDL and all of those different apps. And and as I've got into it, I'm still learning. Like Slido is a new one I only learned yesterday. I'm going to use that in my groups. And I would only say that I'm really echoing what Helahan said in 2015 was through the Universal Design for Learning lens, we can implement a more tailored lesson for which we try to accommodate multiple intelligences and learning styles. Thank you.